to you.
Yes, I just want to bring some breaking news now. India's MoS defense, Sanjay Seth, meets Russian President Putin in Moscow. Seth is representing India at the Victory Day celebrations. I just want to move on to some different news before we address that. Adit Kathari, I want to move on to the fact that India has now suspended the IPL. This is a sporting event which Indians throughout the country adore. 253 million people watched the sporting event. Has pausing the IPL helped India's cause? Does it hurt India more than it does Pakistan?
So from an optics perspective, yes, of course, it to the global audience, it does send out a message that all is not well, and we are taking some retrospective measures as a consequence of what is happening between India and Pakistan. So hence, the IPL games have been now suspended for about a week, post which the government will sit down and review the security situation and then decide whether to further press on with the IPL or not. But it does send out a rather negative message to the global community, which is not very good from an optics perspective, because India's now the fourth largest economy in the world. FDI is springing into the country. It's a buoyant sort of a ground for foreign direct investment and for monies coming in from abroad being invested into industries. War doesn't help a situation like this, because it does make the global community slightly nervous about the ground situation. However, having said that, I think if you look at the way that India has conducted itself militarily, the S-400s have been particularly, it's been a splendid sight to see the way they were deflecting all of the attacks from the Pakistani side. So from that perspective, I think we're rather safe, and there's nothing to worry about as such. If there were to be escalations, I think the Indian military, the Indian armed forces are well equipped to thwart any such misguided and misadventures from the Pakistani side, Thomas.
Yes, and Adit, I just wanted to get your reaction to India still being represented at Russia's victory parade today. Sanjay Seth is representing India. Obviously, India still needs to be on the diplomatic stage, and I just want to kind of work out what the importance of that will be in regards to keeping relationships in regards to the BRICS nations which are in attendance. Can I just get your immediate reaction, if that's all right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, India's had its position very clear. They look at the globe and its relations with the globe in a very non-binary way. They are not in either of the camps. So they're not in the United States camp, or they're not in the Russian camps. They just want a world to behave like an entire family. And that's the ethos of the country, and that's the way we've gone about conducting our geopolitical interests. Where the globe was, while they were having a lot of problems with Russia, I mean, we were there to ensure that the global oil markets were stabilized by actually purchasing, Russian oil, and this has been caveated by many geopolitical experts in the United States, in Europe, that had India not been buying Russian oil at that point, the oil markets could have gone through a massive turmoil as a consequence. So, India's position from that perspective is to ensure that it can play its role as a global peacemaker, and that is what we're essentially getting at. And with this particular gentleman, Mr. Sanjay Seth, being in Russia only goes to demonstrate that we are equally friends with Russia, who have been our allies, from way back in time, along with the United States, who are also our allies, and we are buying equipments from both at the moment, Russia and the United States. I mean, the S-400s, the anti-missile systems that were absolutely epic in thwarting off, the Pakistani missiles yesterday, were our acquisitions from Russia at the end of the day. So we do owe them our thanks at the end of the day, Thomas.
Yes, I want to bring you some more information now. Singapore has expressed grave concern